What's going on, guys? So, oh boy, am I going to have fun with this one today. This is a topic to address a video that I recently posted about weighing my truck on the Celoton 4 platform scale system that they provided to me. And when you saw the weight of my truck, and then I told you the weight of my fifth wheel pin weight, and then I told you what we have in the truck, everyone, or not everyone, but a few people started instantly jumping on the comment section saying, oh my gosh, JD has always told us this, but now look at what he's doing. It's totally unsafe. It is so against what he's been saying. And all the people who have been saying that are typically the exact same people who leave negative comments on videos about half-ton trucks. So it's a very interesting thing to kind of see rehashed in the comment section, but we're going to discuss this because I think it's really important, and I'm going to have fun with this one. Hang tight, I'll be right back. Okay, so in that video, we weighed the truck. The truck was 10,200 pound gross vehicle weight. That is as it sits, like it sits right now. And people are like, oh my gosh, when you add the 3,482 pounds to the truck in terms of pin weight on the fifth wheel, you're going to be left with very little weight, roughly 300 pounds worth of cargo capacity for your entire family. You are just breaking the official safety rule that JD talks about. And, you know, on this channel, it's all about understanding that every truck needs to have this huge margin of safety in both payload capacity as well as towing capacity, because you always talk about half-ton trucks and why half-ton trucks are the worst tow vehicles. Okay, let's unpack that a little bit. First of all, when we are talking about conventionally towing, which is hooked to the back, not over the back axle, hooked to the back, it is important that you do give yourself a little bit more leeway or a little bit of a buffer, or as much of a buffer as you can give yourself. We talk about half-ton trucks, and I talk about the most commonly spec'd out half-ton trucks, which are going to be a crew cab, short box, four-wheel drive truck. And in most of those configurations, because I can't magically see what every single truck owner has, they're going to have between 1,400 and 1,600 pounds worth of maximum cargo capacity. Now, let's not talk about cargo capacity or towing capacity right now. Let's talk about the fact that half-ton trucks are designed to be very comfortable when you drive them. Very soft, very plush suspension. Most of them don't drive like trucks anymore. They drive like luxury SUVs. That soft suspension, coupled with a lever in the back, which is your hitch, providing all this up and down forward motion, pushing and pulling, coupled with sway, coupled with a very light truck in general, can lead to very precarious towing situations if you're not careful and if you try to max out everything on the truck. I've always mentioned half-ton trucks are exceptionally capable if you put a trailer on them that you can balance the weight. Unfortunately, RVs are a lot more difficult to balance out than utility trailers or cargo trailers because you can't move the stuff inside of the RV around very much to dictate where that weight is resting over the axles. So, again, every time I bring up truck weights and terms and towing, and especially now that people have seen what my truck weighs and the pin weight and all this, people are like, well, you say this about half-ton trucks, or in some cases 3/4-ton trucks, and they only take the little piece that they want to hear. Maybe you have this beautiful half-ton truck and sitting in your driveway. Maybe it's a heavy-duty payload package version. Maybe it's a work truck version. Maybe it's a stripped-down version and you have some magical, 1,900-pound or 2,400-pound cargo capacity, and you're hauling a perfectly sized trailer behind it, and you're like, you know what, JD doesn't know what he's talking about, because look at my specific, exactly spec'd out truck sitting in my parking lot or in my driveway that was specifically purchased with all the details in mind to make sure I could safely tow my trailer with it, and he's saying half-ton trucks can't do anything, when I'm not saying that. I just don't know who you are. I don't know what truck you have sitting in your driveway. I don't know how you spec'd that truck out, and more important than anything, I don't know your towing history. Have you ever towed an RV in your life? And if you have, then you're probably pretty good at it. Have you ever, towed a utility trailer? Here's a good thing. If I talked at all about coaching people on how to back up a trailer, about 30% of the people who leave negative complaints would probably jump on and say, you don't know what you're talking about. I've been able to back up trailers perfectly for the last 40 years. Not understanding that backing up a trailer is one of the most stressful things people hauling RVs can do. but you're going to specifically apply my message to you, I guess because you're hearing it at that moment, and you might be grumpy or upset, and you're thinking I'm specifically saying you don't know how to back up a trailer, when I'm not. I'm simply saying that if people are challenged in that area, I'm talking about the majority of people who claim that that's the most stressful thing. There's a lot of people who won't even get a back-in slip only because they don't feel comfortable backing into it, and they'll get through a pull-through slip. So very similar to owning a truck. Just because I might be talking to the majority of people doesn't mean there's a select number of people that might be really good at something or that might have that specific truck. Now, here's the thing about my truck. We don't have the RV hitched up to it right now. Just like someone who might use their welding rig truck to haul their RV when they're not welding. They remove their welding rig, and now they have 1,000 pounds of weight that's freed up in the back of the truck for cargo capacity for their RV. Well, it's summertime. Well, towards the end of summertime. And we take the truck and do all sorts of other things that we use it for when we're not hauling the RV. I have a toolbox full of stuff that about half of that stuff is only in there when I'm not hauling the RV. My recovery box is actually extra stuff. It's shackles, it's hitches and things like that that I don't bring with me when we're hauling the RV. I have 2 jacks in there. I have 2 jacks in the toolbox and 2 jacks underneath it that I don't bring with me when we're hauling the RV. There's a lot of stuff that I remove from the back of the truck, and all in all, it really adds up to be about 300 pounds worth of stuff that I take out of the bed of the truck. Now, regardless of all of that, here's the one that I think most people were really jumping on. They said, well, you have this F450, regardless of the rating of the truck or how this truck was built or how it's different than an F350. People are like, your message is clear. You need to have so much extra cargo capacity when you are hauling a trailer. All right, so I don't know if I've clarified this enough, but I've only probably said it 300 to 400 times. When you are hauling a fifth wheel specifically, or a gooseneck, and the weight is placed over the back axle, pressing down right there, you are very likely, in many cases, if it's a larger fifth wheel, or even a mid-sized to larger fifth wheel, you are likely to come very close to maxing out the weight of your truck. That's just a fact. Conventional trailers, you have more control over what you can buy because of the weight transfer. But even the lightweight fifth wheels transfer upwards of 2,500 to 3,000 pounds when fully loaded to the back of a truck. Our fifth wheel, as equipped, which is a large fifth wheel, transfers 3,482 pounds to the back of a truck. This is one of the reasons why I always recommend dualies or even single rear wheel 1-tons because of their payload capacity for hauling fifth wheels. Because I already understand that fifth wheels place significantly more weight than travel trailers do over the back axle of your vehicle. Now, why is a truck like this or a dually or a 1-ton single rear wheel preferred? Because they have that increased payload capacity that you're going to need. It's very difficult to haul a big fifth wheel with a truck that has under 4,000 pounds worth of payload capacity and to stay within your numbers. So as many people believe that we're well over our numbers, when everything's said and done, we're camping, we have to take into account what we specifically weigh, what we have specifically in our truck, what specifically is making our fifth wheel heavy, and understanding what we don't need to take with us so we can meet that number. We have probably an extra 200 pounds worth of cargo capacity to the truck remaining after we are completely loaded up, after I've removed the things that are in the bed of the truck that aren't normally in the bed of the truck when we're hauling the fifth wheel, and we're ready to go camping. And that's with a full tank of fuel. So some people ask that question, well, are you weighing it with the full tank? Yes, I just filled the truck up before I weighed it. The other thing to keep in mind with all of this, again, is that if you are talking about 1/2 tons or 3/4 tons or whatever truck you're talking about and you're conventionally towing, sway will exist to some degree. You can minimize it with a weight distribution hitch. You can minimize it with a longer base, heavier vehicle. You can minimize it with how you balance out your trailer by aligning your tires and wheels and all this. You can minimize it, but sway will exist to some degree. And when you have that lever action on the back of your truck extending off the back, it is an entirely different towing situation than when you're towing with a fifth wheel or a gooseneck. And a heavy fifth wheel and gooseneck, I repeat, will typically come to the point of nearly meeting the capacity of most trucks, and in many cases, it'll exceed the capacity of most trucks. A lot of people, again, with 3/4 ton trucks will hitch up. A Brookstone like we have, they only have 3,100 pounds worth of max cargo capacity, and the pin weight of the fifth wheel itself is going to be several hundred pounds over that before anybody's sat in the truck, before anybody's gotten in, before any supplies. And you can't remove anything from the truck to give you that payload capacity back because you're over just by having your RV on the back. That is absolutely not the case with us. When we set up, we have plenty of cargo capacity left, but we also realize the distinct difference between the weight that a fifth wheel and a gooseneck applies to the back of the truck versus the weight of a conventional trailer, which would hang off the back. There is absolutely no way we would have a conventional trailer hanging off the back with 3,482 pounds. It would technically be the same to a lot of people thinking about it. Well, shoot, isn't that the same as a fifth wheel over the back axle? No, entirely different. This truck can't even handle that much. It's not even rated that high. It's rated to 2,100 pounds over the back, and we wouldn't even put 2,100 pounds on the back receiver of this truck because I don't feel that would be safe either. So, again, I mean, I love the folks that all of a sudden jump on videos that they're like, oh, you said this one word wrong, or you said the word half ton, or you're talking about weight, and look how close you are. Yeah, we have a large fifth wheel. The same thing a lot of people have, but they're hauling around with trucks that are well underpowered. I think some of those same people that leave those comments have half-ton trucks, and they're like, well, since you do it with this, then what's the problem with getting a half-ton truck with a heavy-duty payload package hauling your fifth wheel around? Because I have 2,600 pounds worth of cargo capacity. Well, then you're going to be 800 pounds over the minute you drop the weight of the fifth wheel pin on the back of your Ford or whatever truck you have. So, yeah, I mean, I don't understand the logic because I see so many folks who will just grab onto one comment, and it's typically the term half-ton. Then all of a sudden their blood pressure spikes, and they're like, you have to be crazy to think a half-ton isn't the most capable truck out there. And honestly, half-ton trucks are great. We're considering getting one. The reality of it is a dually is going to handle that type of weight and most other fifth wheel weight better. We don't have a DRV. We don't have a Lux. Those put so much more weight on the back of trucks. And we know that that wouldn't be right for this truck. It wouldn't be right for our setup, and we'd be way over. But as configured, we're set up perfectly with a fifth wheel on. When we don't have the fifth wheel on, we're driving around with like 3,800 pounds worth of cargo capacity. I mean, it's an insane amount of cargo capacity that's available. I'm not talking about, when the truck is rated on the door, because we have bumpers, we have winches, we have toolboxes, stuff like that. But roughly 3,800 pounds of cargo capacity is remaining to haul the fifth wheel when we're not actually RVing. So, yeah, the truck is really set up well, and I think most folks who watch the channel who have a dually or who have a high cargo capacity F350 or even an F250 know what my message is about. It's just funny sometimes to hear people who leave comments saying, oh my gosh, look what JD is doing. It's all wrong. No, we're hauling a heavy fifth wheel. You're always going to be close to your cargo capacity with a heavy fifth wheel. That's just the way it is. Can you avoid going over it? You can if you're very careful on what fifth wheel you have, what you carry in the truck, what your truck's rated for, and how you have it all set up. And we are. And I think that that's the message that's clear. So, those of you who again, left those comments and got really argumentative in terms of what you felt we were doing right or wrong, you need to go back and hear the whole message. Because I think you're only grabbing onto one little tiny piece that spikes your blood pressure. And you're like, let's build an entire argument around that one little thing. And typically it's you want to have excessive payload capacity and you want to have excessive cargo capacity and half-ton trucks. Those are the terms that most people jump on. The reality is yes, you do want to have excessive cargo capacity if you can. On trailers, everything. But you want to have excessive cargo and towing capacity. And you want to make sure you understand how different types of trailers impact different types of trucks. Anyways, guys, this was actually a fun video to make, even though I sounded frustrated. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment below. Even the people who left all comments on my other video, leave a comment below because I love engaging in these types of comments. And if you all don't know by now, I actually like to debate, so it's a fun thing for me. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up. We'll talk to you again very soon.